Hey everybody, and welcome to a Teacher's Wonderland YouTube channel. I'm Ronnie, and I want you guys to get ready to do a workshop with me where we are going to be talking about morning meetings and your activities that you can use in your classroom. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that little bell so you are notified anytime that we have a new video. Let's get started. First thing that we need to talk about is going to be, what is morning meeting? And if you don't know what morning meeting is, don't worry. That is totally fine. Morning meeting has been relatively new in the last few years. It's a way for our students to connect. If you hear a little kid voice, that's just my daughter, Quinn. Now, morning meeting allows you to have a way for your students to connect with other students in the classroom. There's a little part of your brain called the amygdala, and that's the fight or flight status in your brain. Sorry, very loud. That's the fight or flight status in your brain. And if your students are feeling that stress and they're in that fight or flight status, guess what? They're not going to learn. Think about it. If you are so stressed out about your environment, does that mean that you're going to learn? No, you're not going to. Kids are no different. If their amygdala isn't calm, they will still go in that fight or flight status, and they are not going to learn from you. And that's the unfortunate truth. And think about how many hours you can lose if you don't have that. So one way to get students to kind of, I don't know if the right word is accept us, but to feel comfortable with us and to say it's okay and that my classroom is a safe environment is by providing activities that you can use in your classroom. So when we introduce activities, I'm going to tell you right now, activities are not made for them to be sitting at their seat and coloring. They are made for them to get up out of their seat and to feel like they're part of something. And that's the whole point of the activities, is to feel like they are part of the classroom, the environment, and they're important, and they are important. And that's what we want to focus on here. Now, when you have some of your activities that you can use in your classroom, whoa, hang on, pause. Okay. We can focus on building that sense of community inside of our class. I apologize. Okay. We want to build that community. We want to be able to have them say hi and welcome each other. Part of the morning meeting is going to be the greetings and the sharings and the activities. There's always a message part, but I never really felt like that was as important as the greetings, the sharings, and the activities. Now, the activities usually for me was the third thing. I've always heard you can go out of order between the sharing and the activities. I never did, just because I felt like it had a nice little flow. This is going to be things that you can do really simple. I like to keep our activities down to like 10 minutes. We also, keep this in mind, we also had a 30-minute block of social and emotional learning time. So we would do 15 minutes of morning meeting and 15 minutes of SEL time. And we were able to focus on a skill based off of the SEL time. So keep that in mind. If you don't have that time, you can ask your principal, like, hey, can I get some morning meeting time on my schedule for next year or now? It's not going to hurt to ask. And if you're like me, that anxiety part is like, you're like, yeah, I can ask. And then you're going to be like, no. Try it. Give it a shot. The worst they can say is no. Right? Okay. Anyways, so some activities that you can do in your classroom include charades, a scavenger hunt, Pictionary. I think they even have Pictionary where you can like draw it in the air and they can see it on the board. Trivia. My kids love to play Blook It. So on Fridays we would do Blook It instead of like an actual get out of your seat activity. But just in case you're thinking that maybe you want more activities, let's talk about a few more. You ready? Okay. I'm going to do it one by one so that way it's not as like stressful for you. Okay. So this is actually one of the things that I will do first day of school. So this is actually coming straight from the first 10 days or 8 days of school. And these are things that I do. I love follow the leader. Usually I try my hardest to make sure that I know all of my students' names like within the first like hour. So like I'm constantly like Jake, Derek, Leanne. I don't know how that kid's name. Jared. So I do try to say it, and I will, because I also want them to know their numbers. They always have to know their numbers. So I will actually pull a random stick out and they have to follow the leader. So this could be really silly. I mean, when you're talking with the K through second, you're going to see lots of silly things of like blah, blah, blah. But as they get older and more comfortable with each other, the following the leader is going to be beneficial. You'll definitely see them come out of their shell, especially if you pick someone that's super quiet all the time, right? If they're super quiet, it's kind of like awesome to see them come out and do like some crazy stuff. I say crazy stuff. I mean, who knows what really they could do? I don't know. Anyways, number 2, I love grandmother's trunk. Uh, this is hard, okay? And I tell my kids, you will not get it right the first time. Okay, you won't. So here's how it goes. The teacher says, "I'm going on a trip, and I need to pack my grandmother's trunk." Okay, and I'm not talking about like the trunk of a car. So make sure you're like also like telling them it's like a trunk, like that you're gonna carry. The first child then says what he or she will pack in the trunk. For example, I'm going on a trip and I'm going to take a bike. They have to add, but they have to repeat it in order. So let's say person number 1 says, I'm going on a trip and I'm taking a bike. Second person says, I'm going on a trip and I'm taking my bike and I'm taking my toothbrush. Third person, I'm going on a trip and I'm taking my bike and my toothbrush and my hairspray. Number 4, I'm going on a trip and I'm taking my bike, I'm taking my toothbrush, I'm taking my hairspray, and I'm taking my Game Boy. Is that even a thing anymore? Whatever. So by the end of the end, whoever's the last person in your class has to know all of them. So it does take a lot to remember. And I tell the kids, like, okay, listen, the goal is to have 5 correct by the first time. This does happen. I would say like every 2-3 weeks. Like, all right, let's play grandmother's trunk. We've got this. We got this. They don't got this. It's really fun. It's really fun, and the kids are gonna get loud, and no one can help that person. So what I will do as a teacher is I'll like stand, and I'll be like, "What's number 1? What's number 2? What's number 3? What's number 4?" To help students with differentiation, if you do need some of that help, I will actually print out cards ahead of time and say, okay, what are you bringing? And they write it on there, or they'll draw the picture of it. So that way, if a student has something with memory and they aren't successful with memory tricks, then I will actually have the kids hold up cards to help them remember. So that's just another idea, because you do want to make sure that you are being inclusive as well. Caught red-handed. So you need 2 or 3, and they are going to be different objects, small objects that you are going to easily pass around a circle. So I'm not saying like you want to have this gigantic stapler. That doesn't make sense. However, a binder clip is perfect. A paper clip. Where's my camera? There we are. Wait. There we go. Paper clip is perfect. A folded up Post-it note would also be really, really good. And what we're going to do is we are going to stand in a circle and we're going to pass it around behind us. The person in the middle is going in the middle of the circle, closes his or her eyes for just a moment. The children on the circle begin to pass the objects behind their back. They want to do this as quietly and as sneakily as possible. They can also pretend to pass objects so that at times the students are either passing an object or they're just passing nothing. They're faking a pass, right? So the person in the middle then opens her eyes and they have to guess where the 2 or 3 objects are located. So now you get why putting a massive stapler isn't going to work. But if I were to pass the paper, where'd my camera go? There we go. If I were to pass the paper clip, I can do that quietly. So that's a hard one. I will tell you that until I really get to know kind of like some tells, it will take a few minutes the first time. So I say you've got 90 seconds from when we tell you to open your eyes to actually find the red-handed person. It just also keeps them moving. And then you get a few people in there. We all know this one, Mother May I. This one's simple, fun. Can I take 5 steps? Can I do this? Can I do that? Things like that. I actually, because I like my kids to be able to have multiples, I will actually set up 2 games in my classroom. So one on the left side, one on the right side. Sometimes you can break it up by boys, sometimes by girls, sometimes people that are wearing red shirts, blue shirts, especially like fun event days. You know, like you have Literacy Week. Okay, people that are wearing more of a cartoon shirt than a human shirt, go over this way. And you can kind of break them up like that. Just simple things to think about. All right, throw and catch. So this is really simple again. Don't pay attention. One thing to pay attention to in this game is that some kids will not make every single catch. So here's, yeah, we can throw and catch it, but really we want to go a little bit past that. You need a space. You need to divide the groups into two. Again, you can break it up however you want. 2 teams and a ball. Team 1 tosses it to team 2. If team 2 catches a ball before it hits the ground, then team 2 gets a point. Team 2 throws the ball back at team 1. If team 2 catches it, they get a point. Simple, fun, quick. That's what we want, right? One important thing to pay attention to is that the same children will not try to make every catch. So sometimes I will walk past and tell them, or I'll look at them and I'll wink, and then they can't catch. So if they toss it to them, they can't do it. So it's just fun just to kind of make up fake rules, make it a little bit more challenging. This one is super, super hard because there's zero talking involved. So if you have a headache, this is a great way for that. What I do is I actually will tell my kids you are not allowed to talk and you need to get an order from January to December based on birthdays. Try it. It's fun. It's so hard. I tell the kids, okay, I'm giving you 6 minutes. And they're like, 6 minutes, that's fine. Yeah, there's no talking and you can't write anything. So good luck. Make sure you get an order. It's fun. Another thing I like to do is instead of just a birthday line, I will actually do a, oh, I had it in my head. Hopefully I remember it again. If I remember it, I'll tell you. But I probably forgot it. It is what it is. Okay, elbow tag. So in your classroom, I don't know if you had the same classroom as me. My first classroom was small. My second classroom was massive. It was so big. My third classroom was back to being the same size as my first one. So there wasn't a lot of movement. And then when COVID hit, they had to be 6 feet apart. So there was no movement. Like it was rough. So if you have that movement, this is awesome. We actually just play tag, but we play with our elbows. So it's a little bit different, a little bit fun. And once they get tagged with the elbow, then they link up and they all go around. If there were some days that we would have recess and then we would have SEL time, we would stay outside and play elbow tag as a team. And so that's just another, gives them more space. So a little bit more fun, challenging. Think outside the box. All right, electricity is our last one for you guys, and I'm going to share with you. Electricity is a nonverbal form of telephone. We're going to gather in a circle and we're going to hold hands. One child, that the teacher gets is picked, will send out a nonverbal pulse. So they just literally squeeze. Okay. The pulse passes from child to child until it reaches the first center. Once you're done, think, how long did it take? And can you beat the record from last time? Sometimes I would also change it up and be like 1, 2, 3. And they would have to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And it's fun. I also do like doing the beat the record. It's interesting. Hopefully I gave you guys some awesome ideas that you can use in your classroom for different activities. And if you do need more ideas, I have 180 different ideas located inside of my morning meeting activities year-long pack that's found in my TPT store, or you can actually find it on my website, ateacherswonderland.com. Have fun!